Okay, I'm in the middle of talking about what we've seen so far of Patrick Clancy's testimony. Now, you go back and watch one video before this, you'll see where I started this conversation. There's 200 people on the witness list, so I'm quite certain at some point I'm going to catch on to what the prosecution is trying to establish. While I don't think it's a bad idea to put Patrick Clancy up there, we already know that he is much more of a defense witness, right? And he has a pending lawsuit, civil lawsuit against, I guess, some of these medical providers. So he's going to be withholding is the word I will use. And there were plenty of times where he didn't know the answer or he didn't want to say the answer. And she had to pull out old statements, old testimony to remind him of what he said at the time. I think this is to be expected when you put him up there. But I also think that the prosecution spent a good part of day one with him showing us them being a happy family and having him repeatedly say over and over and over and over and over again that he was not afraid to leave Lindsay alone with his children. Like there was never any time where he doubted that she was a good mom. And again, I'm not sure if that's the right angle you take if you're trying to prove she was a bad mom who maliciously murdered her children. I haven't connected these dots yet. Like I don't see how this testimony and the exhibits that they're putting into evidence match the personality that they're saying Lindsay had. Okay, Patrick seems pretty limited on what he knows about the medications she was taking, when she was taking them. Maybe he just doesn't recall. Maybe he doesn't want to talk about her medical situation. Maybe he's kind of like, dare I say, he's like a typical husband where shit just goes in one ear and out the other. And he goes, yeah, sure, honey, fine. And then all of a sudden he's put up on the stand. And he's like, I don't know. Like, I don't fucking know. She was taking pills and I have no idea. Like, I'm not trying to hate on the guy. I know a lot of you really think he's responsible for this. I don't agree. I don't think that, she was the one that killed these children. And what we're seeing from his testimony is that she was left alone with the kids, sometimes one, sometimes two, sometimes all three. She was left alone with the children plenty of times, and there was no fear of her harming them. He believed her to be a good mom that couldn't imagine being separated from her children. He said that basically it was in November that her sleep started to suffer. He says that he doesn't remember how long she was taking Zoloft, but at some point her sleep started to suffer, and they started sleeping in separate beds. So he slept in the basement, and then she moved to the basement, and she just could not get a good night's sleep. He said that at one point he couldn't remember when, but he remembered that her Zoloft prescription was doubled, that she kept getting worse and worse. She switched providers. He felt that Dr. Tufts, who's the one that prescribed the Zoloft, wasn't helping, so they went to perinatal specialists, and they went to one that was referred by his mother, who is also a nurse. This is somebody named Julie Paul. Apparently she went to Julie Paul for 4 or 5 days, but then Julie Paul left. Like, I don't know if she retired or resigned or left that place, but then she began seeing Nurse Gelada. So she was going to a doctor that wasn't a specialist. So she switched to a specialist, and then that person left employment 4 or 5 days later. And so then she has to be kind of assigned to somebody else. And this is when she begins seeing Nurse Gelada. He said there's also, the prosecution said there was also therapy sessions with someone named Letitia Dukes, but he can't remember any therapy. Like that doesn't come to his memory at all. So the prosecution went in and pulled all of the trackers of her prescriptions at CVS, and basically they have all of the evidence that Tufts, Paul, and Gelada, like all of them prescribed different medications. He says, Patrick's like, I didn't monitor her pill intake. I don't know what she was taking when. Basically she's full-ass adult. She's allowed to get a prescription filled. But he did provide the investigators or the police with bottles, like pill bottles from the home. After the incident, he rounded up all the pill bottles and he handed them in. So here's what we learned in trial. And again, wait till the end because I have an opinion about this. That the Zoloft, the original Zoloft from Tufts, Lindsay only took 7 pills. The Ativan, she only took 6 pills. There was 30 in the bottle. And when they were asking Patrick, like, did you know she only took this many? Do you know she only took this many? At one point he goes, out of how many? He's like, because context is important. And he's right? If you say, well, she only took 7, did she take 7 out of 8? Did she take 7 out of 10? Did she take 7 out of 60? What's the actual number? So in this case, the Ativan, she took 6 out of 30. There's something called bus bar. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Only 2 pills taken there. Hydroxynin, which is like a Benadryl, I guess, substitute. I don't know. I'm just writing it down as I go. There's another prescription for bus bar. No pills were taken there. Somebody come into the comments and tell me how to spell like bus bar. I had the subtitles on, and it literally said like bus bar, Busbar. I don't know if that's right. That's how I'm pronouncing it. I could be way fucking wrong. Please come into the comments and tell me how that's pronounced. Another prescription for that where no pills were taken. And then there was a trazodone where only 7.5 pills were taken. So what they're trying to prove is that she wasn't over medicated because she really wasn't taking a lot of these pills. What the defense is going to say is that she was misdiagnosed and therefore being prescribed things she shouldn't have been prescribed. And I don't know how many pills it takes to show a contrary reaction than what the pill is intended for. But in my research, I found that if you have undiagnosed bipolar and you take even like 1 or 2 pills of the wrong kind of medicine, it can be an absolute fucking disaster. So if you don't diagnose that she has bipolar and prescribe her appropriately, then no matter what you give her and no matter how many she takes, she's a runaway freight train. And say that she's doctor shopping and she's pill shopping. And those of you who are like, she's a benzo addict, clearly she's not if she's not draining the pill bottles. If she was a benzo addict, she'd be popping these bad boys and taking a 30-day prescription in 3 days and going and looking for more. That's not what she was doing. She would take a couple of pills, realize that something was wrong, that things were getting worse, and she'd go get a different one. So again, I'm confused. I know Patrick has more testimony. We just got to the point where he went to pick up the takeout order that night when we had to stop for the day. So we're just coming into the point where he came home that night to this crime scene. And so there's a lot more to be said. But again, I'm a pretty smart person, and I can't quite figure out the route the prosecution is taking yet. They have a lot more witnesses, so let's see what they do. But in my opinion, I don't think what they're talking to Patrick Clancy about is landing, or if I were a juror, it wouldn't be landing with me the way they think they wanted it to land. Just my opinion. Come back for more.